Hey everybody, you got your old pal Jack Photon here, and today we're going to be digging into Dragon Magazine number 76 for a look at the NPC class called the Deathmaster by Leonard Lakofka. Pretty sure there it is. For NPCs only, the Deathmaster. Oh, Leonard. So he starts off by saying an introduction sermon on the theme of the AD&D games. And he says, as corny as it sounds, I believe the theme of the D&D is the struggle between good and evil, commitment to team action. Too often a D&D adventure is played as a me-first game. Leonard believes the AD&D game should not have assassin player characters. In fact, no player character should be evil at all unless adverse magic affects him. Yet, many players will have their characters turn evil at the first opportunity, with greed being the biggest single cause of this change. In a situation I experienced, the paladin tried to talk the ranger into knifing the magic user in the back because the magic user wanted the recently found and yet to be identified wand. Now obviously folks, that's a little bit ridiculous, and if you got your paladin trying to do that with a ranger, you got problems on your hand as a DM that go well beyond the game system, and that is not the fault of the game system. If your players are trying to do that, then you need to punish them with alignment changes, loss of abilities, and all that sort of stuff that's covered in the DM's guide. Leonard finishes by saying, I do not want to belabor the point. As a way of putting evil in its proper place, here is presented an evil character that makes an assassin look like the boy next door. The Deathmaster is meant as an NPC. Please use the character that way only. If I ever run into a PC Deathmaster at a convention, I may turn evil myself. Leonard, I'd love to just run a Deathmaster PC just because you're saying that. So let's dive in and take a look. Now, while I've never run a Deathmaster myself, except as an NPC, I'm pretty sure that my brother handled one of these. And there are a lot of interesting features about this class. So the Deathmaster is a subclass of the magic user. They can start as any alignment, and this is the one NPC class where alignment change does not lower your experience points or level. It's built into the experience tables. You can start off as lawful good, and you will eventually, by a certain level, turn to chaotic evil ultimately. So if you start off as lawful good, you'd first turn lawful neutral, then true neutral, then neutral evil, then finally chaotic evil at 9th level. In this downward spiral, no magic, even a wish or helm of opposite alignment, can move the Deathmaster's alignment away from chaotic evil. Wow, that's a crazy ability built in there. Normal ability stats, you can be a human, dwarf, or half-orc, or nothing else. And 13th level is where this class tops out. No Deathmaster can ever be multi-classed or dual-classed. They do the same things as Alchemist as far as brewing up potions and other stuff like that. They get knife, dagger, sickle, scythe, or scimitar. And scythe and sickle apparently is a new one as of this magazine because it lists out the weight, the length, the speed factor, and the space, as well as damage, of course. Deathmasters shun armor of all types, but may use rings, cloaks, and jewelry and all that kind of thing. There's also a little bit here about how intelligent swords will react to a Deathmaster, so read that later on. Now there are a number of interesting limitations for actual magic items to Deathmasters here. For example, with potions, they can use all potions except any that control living things. And when they find a potion of controlling the undead or anything like that, it's extra effective. They cannot read any scrolls whatsoever except those penned in the language of death, that is, from other Deathmasters or demons or whatever else there may be going on. Death Masters are limited to the kind of rings they can use. And then there are very few miscellaneous magic items they can use. And even then there's limitations, like an Amulet of the Plains will only take a Death Master down to the lower planes, nowhere else. The Death Master picks up Alchemist Skills at 3rd level. They get spells which are kind of a combination of both Cleric and Magic User, and a number of interesting special abilities. For instance, just by digging a grave, the Death Master gains 1 experience point. And check this one out. An undead creature must fail a save of 8 to successfully attack a Death Master. Otherwise, they just ignore them. Death Masters eventually get to speak with undead. Speak with dead per the Cleric spell. They gain cumulative resistance to sleep and charm. They become immune to paralysis and hold. And eventually at 11th level become immune to level draining and strength draining by the undead, though normal damage will still occur, of course. Then, of course, there's the spells they get. There's a lot of familiar ones that you're going to recognize. For example, they get Cause Light Wounds, Cause Serious Wounds up here, but then they get Harm and Heal. So because Harm and Heal is specific, I'm going to go and say Cause Serious and Light means you cannot cure. Also, with the potions, a Death Master cannot use healing potions of any kind. Now, as I say, there's a lot of familiar spells here. Tongues, Wall of Ice, Pyrotechnics, Magic Mouth, Teleport, Cloud Kill, Cone of Cold, Ice Storm, Detect Magic, Featherfall, but there's a lot of really interesting ones here too. Animate skeletons, zombies, attract ghouls, ghast production, mummy production, shadow summoning, death spell, energy drain, lichdom, undead production, vampire production. Here's an interesting little one. Death armor. What's that? Let's go over here. It's a cream that the Death Master rubs over their body, and then for the next couple hours, once they say a special word, the armor activates, and anyone who touches them with their bare hands like an open fist monk attack will take 2 to 12 points of damage. Wow. Now the Death Master is still going to take damage from that punch from the monk, but that monk is definitely going to be feeling it. All of the gas production and animate spells are basically what they sound like. There's various specifics for those. If you want to become a vampire, you go to a Death Master. Over here with Lichdom, it's cast on a willing high priest or magic user of at least 18th level, or a Death Master of 13th level. Whoever it is drinks a potion and they make a saving throw. If it works, they become a lich in 24 hours. If it fails, they're just dead. And then there's a whole bunch of other stuff associated with that. Henchmen, hirelings, and Orcus. The Death Master can only have hirelings and henchmen that are evil. Some chaotic evil tribes of humanoids revere the Death Master since he can produce armies of undead for them. Eventually, a Death Master becomes a demon worshipper who ultimately worships Orcus. Once the Death Master reaches 13th level, if they die on Halloween, then Orcus may take notice of them and would animate them as an undead creature with their full Death Master powers. What an interesting little NPC class that is right there, and that's the end of it.